Hi people, it's Archivist here, and today I want to talk about misleading trailers, and this comes about after watching the recent Star Wars Battlefront reveal trailer. And although I really enjoyed it, and it came about at a great time of course because Star Wars Episode 7's teaser trailer, I think the second one came out, so there's a lot of hype around it, there was one small thing about the trailer that did bother me, and that was where it says near the beginning, game engine footage. Now, I actually do believe that to be true. I think this could very well be the game engine we're being shown here. But I think the reason that was put there was to try and mislead people into thinking that, well, because it's game engine footage, this is in-game footage, which of course it isn't. It is way too good. This has quite clearly just been pre-rendered using, I don't know, the highest possible capabilities that the game engine could possibly output. Of course, there can be a massive difference in terms of quality, even if you're running on the same game engine. I mean, even the same game. I mean, take Grand Theft Auto for example. If you run the game on the lowest settings versus the ultra settings, there is a huge difference in terms of quality, what the game looks like, but it's still technically the same game engine. And as I say, I don't think EA are lying here, this probably is game engine footage, but they're trying to trick people, I think, by saying that, into thinking it's gameplay footage, because you say to yourself, well, why are they using game engine footage rather than, say, fully pre-rendered CGI footage? Well, maybe they're trying to show us what the game actually looks like. But of course, that isn't what the game looks like because it's too good looking. And also, there's this thing that it's just so natural to assume in your mind. When you see a game in the early stages of its development, you assume it will look worse than when it finally comes out. But I've learnt recently that is not the case. It seems more often that when you see the early versions of trailers, they tend to look better than what the game will eventually look like because they realise that the hardware simply cannot support it and they're going to have to dial it down. The thing is, if it hadn't said game engine footage at the beginning, I would have just watched this trailer and really enjoyed it because, as I say, it's an excellent trailer. The animations are really smooth, the effects are really nice, but I would have just said to myself, well, you know what, that's a damn fine looking trailer, and I'm really excited for the game. It's just a piece of promotional material, much like, I don't know, the World of Warcraft trailers or, the live-action recent Halo 5 trailer. Obviously, that's live-action, but I'm just enjoying it for what it is. It's just a nice-looking trailer. I'm probably going to get the game anyway, but hey, it's a fun trailer to enjoy. I'm a bit more hyped up for the game now, and that's what this trailer should have done for me. But by saying game engine footage, I just feel like it's EA playing this, similar to what was done with Watch Dogs. Not exactly the same, because that was actually claiming to be fully in-game footage, but similar to what they did, in that they're showing this early version of the game looking idealistic, but obviously it can't reach that. That's far too good. With Watch Dogs we didn't know because that was when it was first announced, that was before we even had the next gen consoles, so we had, or current gen as they are now, so we didn't really have an understanding of how powerful they are. But I think if you're honest with yourself, if you played any next gen titles, as good as they are, I mean there's a big difference between the 360 and the Xbox One or the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 4, but they aren't capable of this, let's be honest. This is just too good. This is way too good. This is clearly not in-game footage. I mean, to be honest, if it was in-game footage, they would have said that instead. They would have said in-game alpha footage, or they wouldn't have said game engine footage. And that's the thing. I mean, they said game engine footage. It's not technically a lie. You couldn't sue them for this because they're not lying. But they're making people assume that because it's game engine, they know that people will take the leap there. It's in-game, they'll do that. They know that people will take that leap. And I just get very frustrated with that because a lot of people won't be tricked by this, the savvy people, but they're trying to exploit people's ignorance. I mean, it sounds harsh, but their ignorance of what the hardware is capable of in doing that. And that's just my faults. But, to round it up, a very nice looking trailer, but I was just bothered by that little bit at the beginning because of how much that has happened recently with misleading advertising material. Now, many of you watching this video may have come to the conclusion that I came to yourself, and I'm sure a lot of people did. They would have seen the cinematic widescreen, the perfect animations, the total lack of aliasing, and they would have seen that this is not representative of what the game actually looks like, and would have therefore retroactively deduced that by game engine they just meant that this is what the game looks like at its best, but outside of the hardware capabilities that currently exist. And a lot of people I know that already, but I'm not complaining about it because of that. I'm complaining about it because of the average Joe. Imagine someone who doesn't even own a PlayStation 4 yet or an Xbox One. They have no idea what they're capable of doing in terms of performance. They go on YouTube and they see it advertised, they click on it because they're a fan of Star Wars, they see the trailer and think, oh, I want to play that, that looks amazing. And then they end up pre-ordering it, perhaps even buying the console because of it, and then they get it and they are deeply disappointed because the game doesn't look nearly as good as it did at the when it was first advertised. I don't actually think they would be disappointed because I think it will be a good game, but it's still false advertising. No matter how good the game turns out to be in terms of gameplay, it's still false advertising to people like that. Well, actually, no, sorry, not false advertising, more misleading advertising. So if you have anything to say, do let me know. And as always, people, thanks very much for watching and see you next time.